Hello and welcome to day 12 of your 14-day challenge. Today's practice will be a full body flow practice. We'll emphasize warrior poses and really strong grounded movements. Let's get started. Begin in child's pose, taking your knees out wider than your hips. Sink your hips back and let your forehead relax down as you reach forward with your arms. Take a few slow and steady breaths, allowing your body to relax and to sink subtly into the pose. Consciously slow your breath down so that it feels steady and even. And you're able to breathe all the way down into your belly and into your sides. And notice how the rest of your body responds as you change the breath, as you start to slow down. In child's pose, walk your hands over to the right, maybe going off the mat a little bit, and interlace your left hand on top. Lengthen out your left side, sitting heavily into your left hip, and let yourself stretch through that left side, breathing more into your left ribs. Come back through center and walk your hands over to the left, interlacing your right hand on top. Lean into the stretch on your right side. Come back through center. Shift yourself forward onto hands and knees. Curl your toes under and head into downward dog from there, just slowly moving into it. And take your time to bring some movement into your body, whether that's just small, subtle adjustments to your alignment, or maybe you're taking some bigger movements like walking out your heels one at a time. Turn on your core muscles, allowing your hips to lift high and your back to lengthen. Press and grip the mat with your hands, activating your arms and your shoulders so the downward dog feels comfortable but also really strong. Slowly walk your palms toward your feet, taking small steps with your hands toward the back end of your mat. You'll arrive in a forward fold, soften up your knees and relax your neck and shoulders. And you can hang your arms down or take hold of your elbows as you fold forward here. Then release your arms and very slowly bring yourself up with strong legs. Come all the way up to a tall spine, standing at the back end of your mat. Press through your legs. Lengthen the backside of your neck. As you inhale, sweep your arms up and over your head. And then as you exhale, fold forward. Inhale, come up halfway to a flat back. Exhale, fold, lower your hands down, and then walk your hands forward to plank pose. Once your hands get to the top of the mat, shift your shoulders forward over your palms, contract your core in, and lengthen your chest a little bit more toward the front end of your mat. At the same time, push through your heels and engage your legs, holding for 5, 4, 3, 2 more, and 1. Lower your knees. Now slowly bend your elbows for a count of 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Land on your belly. Slide your hands a little bit further back, engaging your back muscles. Curl up into cobra, lifting your head and chest. Press the shoulder blades onto your back. Engage your spinal muscles, and then all the way into your glutes and your hamstrings. Hold here, warming up those muscles. And stay for a few more breaths, or you can even lift through to a higher cobra, or bring your knees off of the floor and come into upward facing dog. Remember to stay really strong through your back and tone your core muscles so you're supporting your back. Ease your way back to downward dog and take a little time there. In downward dog, roll up onto your toes and walk your toes all the way up to the top end of your mat, taking small steps until you get all the way there. Then inhale to a half lift and exhale to fold. Inhale to rise and reach your arms up. Exhale, release your arms down. Inhale, reach your arms up. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, half lift. Plant your hands. Exhale, step back into plank. From your toes or from your knees, bring yourself down through chaturanga. You can lower down halfway or go all the way down onto the mat. Then curl up into cobra pose or upward facing dog. And press back into downward facing dog. This time as you come up onto your toes, you can walk, step, or hop all the way forward to the top of the mat. Inhale to half lift. Exhale to fold. From here, let's sit back into chair pose. So take a little time to set up your feet nice and grounded. Bend your legs. Engage your core. And as you sit back, reach your arms up. Press down into the floor with your feet. And turn on your leg muscles, your glutes, your hamstrings, and your thighs. Take nice, slow, steady breaths. From chair pose, fold forward, exhale. Inhale, half lift. Plant your hands down. Exhale, step back to plank. Lower yourself down halfway or all the way for chaturanga. Inhale to cobra or upward facing dog. And exhale to downward dog. From downward dog, step your right foot between your hands, set up for warrior one, angling your back foot slightly outward. And as you drive through your feet, come on up to warrior one, stretch your arms up overhead. Press your feet down into the floor. Tone and activate the core muscles in, and let your tailbone lengthen down a bit more, just so the back side of your body feels like it's growing longer. The front side of your body, especially your abdominal muscles, are drawing into support. Exhale, release your hands to the mat. Now you can either step right back to down dog for a few breaths, or take a vinyasa, going through to plank, lowering from your knees or toes through chaturanga. Inhale to cobra or upward dog. And then exhale, take yourself back to down dog. Then step your left foot to the top for warrior one, angling your back foot and pressing through both feet as you come up. Lengthen the back body as you engage and strengthen your abdominals. Exhale, plant your hands. You can step back to downward dog or take a vinyasa by stepping back to your plank and going through your chaturanga from there. From downward dog, step your right foot to the top once again. Let's come back into warrior one on that right side, pressing down through your feet. Sweep your arms all the way up. Go to where you left off in the pose, the alignment, the strength that you developed on the first side. Dig into your breathing. And stay strong through your legs. Take your arms back behind you and interlace your fingers together, gently stretching your knuckles back. Curl your torso forward, dipping just to the inside of your right knee for humbled warrior. And you're gently stretching back through the arms without putting any strain in the shoulders, staying super strong through your legs, just like you would in a regular warrior one. Let's bring it all the way back up, slowly rising. You can release and maybe shake out your arms, and then inhale, reach back up. Exhale, plant your hands. Step back. You can take downward dog or add in a vinyasa here. Then step your left foot through to the top. Come up into warrior one. Strong through your legs. Nice and supportive with your breath. Take your arms behind you, interlacing your fingers, gently stretching the knuckles back, and then go ahead and curl forward. Try to keep your hips in the same alignment that they would be for a normal warrior one, and you're just changing the position of your torso and your arms. Press strong through your legs to come back up. Release your hands, maybe give it a shake, and then send your arms up overhead. Plant your hands. Step back, you choose, add a vinyasa or take it right into downward dog for a few breaths. From downward dog, step your right foot to the top, come back into your warrior one stance. Take your hands behind you, interlace. So we've done this already, just adding on a little more to it. Let's curl forward, keeping the legs nice and strong. From there, release down your hands to the floor, and you can put blocks or props underneath your hands to add a little more height. Step your back foot slightly closer, maybe 1 to 2 inches. Turn those left toes a bit more forward and slowly straighten through your front leg, pressing both feet firmly into the ground. So as you start to feel a stretch through the leg, you're activating the muscles by pressing through your feet. You can choose to stay lengthened and lifted through your spine, or bow gently forward. Lengthen your spine, bring your palms down onto the floor and step all the way back from here. Take it into downward dog or take a vinyasa. Keep in mind the vinyasas are purely optional. If they feel really good in your body and you're craving that extra bit of movement, then go for it. But if you're feeling like a bit more stillness, then take your down dog option. All right, let's bring the left foot forward and come up into warrior one. Take your arms behind you to interlace. Lengthen gently and curl forward, keeping your legs strong and in the same warrior one stance. Then release your fingertips down, maybe adding in some blocks. Step your back foot a little bit closer and turn those right toes more forward and just slowly straighten out the front leg. Press into both feet nice and strong. Option to stay more propped up and lifted, or option to bow forward. Inhale to lengthen. Place your hands to the mat, step back, and take it into down dog or take a vinyasa. Let's add a little more. From down dog, step your right foot to the top, come back into your warrior one. Take your arms behind your back, interlacing your fingers. Curl forward. Release your hands to your mat or to blocks. Step your back foot a little closer, turning the left toe slightly forward. Press through both legs to gently bow forward. From here, bring yourself up to a lengthened position, bringing your spine parallel to the ground or slightly higher. Keep your feet really grounded and hook your right thumb into your right hip crease. Move your left hand across, and you can either place it on your right leg or you can place it on your right side block. And with that right thumb, hook your hip and draw your hip slightly back so that your right side gets longer. As you lengthen, turn your chest and shoulders toward the right and maybe reach your right arm up to the sky. You can also keep your right thumb hooked in the hip to continue lengthening that right side. Your pelvis and lower back is not flat or parallel with the ground. It's going to be a bit angled here because you want your pelvis and your lower spine to rotate naturally as you go into this twist. Then untwist gradually. Take your hands down onto the mat, step back to your down dog, or take a vinyasa. From downward dog, then step your left foot up to the top, come up into your warrior one. Interlace your hands behind your back, lengthening, and curl forward. Release your hands to your mat or onto blocks. Step your back foot a little closer and turn your right toes more forward. Press through both feet as you lengthen the legs and maybe gently bow forward. Lengthen your spine coming up to parallel or slightly higher. Then hook your left thumb into your left hip crease and move your right hand across onto your right leg or onto your block. And you're using your left thumb to pull the left hip back gently so the left side of your body will lengthen out a little bit more. Stay grounded through both feet and rotate your chest and shoulders toward the left. You can keep your left thumb hooked or reach your left arm up toward the ceiling. From your twist, exhale your hands down. Step back for a vinyasa or for your downward facing dog. All right, let's do that one more time. We're going to add one more thing to it. Step your right foot up to the top. Come up into warrior one. Interlace your hands behind your back, lengthening your arms as you curl forward. Let your hands come down and maybe add in your blocks. Step your back foot up a little closer and turn your left side more forward. Press through your feet as you gently bow. Lengthen your spine, hook your right thumb into your right hip crease, and move your left hand across to your right shin or right block. Lengthen out that right side, twist toward the right, maybe reaching up. Now take that right thumb back into your right hip crease. Look down at the floor and return your hand to the left side. You can use a block here. Move your hand or block about a foot ahead, and as you shift your weight forward into your right leg, raise your left leg, lengthen your spine and your leg, and you might twist toward the right with your right hand to your hip or reach back up. Press strong through both of your legs, both of your feet. Slowly untwist, bringing your right hand down, and you can step the left toes toward the back of the mat. Get your palms planted, and then you can step your right foot back, take your downward dog, or take a vinyasa here. All right, let's do the left side. Step your left foot up to the top. Make your way into your warrior one. Take your arms behind you, interlacing your fingers together. Lengthen. Curl forward. Bow forward. Release your hands to the mat or onto blocks. Step your back foot up a little bit closer and turn those right toes slightly forward. Press through the floor and gently bow forward. Lengthen. Hook your left thumb into your left hip crease and move your right hand across onto your left shin or left side block. Draw that left hip back, and as you lengthen your spine, turn your chest toward the left, maybe reaching your left arm up. Moving into the balance, return your left hand to hip, move your right hand back over toward the right, and place that right hand or block about 1 foot ahead. And as you step forward into your left leg, bring up your right leg behind you and lengthen through your crown. Stay there, or maybe start to twist chest and shoulders toward the left. You can keep your left hand where it is, or play around with reaching your left arm up. Slowly untwist, bringing that left hand down. Let your right foot step all the way back, and you can get your palms planted. Step your left foot back. Feel free to take one more vinyasa here, or just head right back into downward dog. And then let's meet up in child's pose. Just giving yourself some time to get settled. Stretch out through your arms, rest your forehead down. Bring yourself forward to hands and knees, and walk your knees closer to the top end of your mat. Sit back. If you're comfortable with kneeling and sitting back onto the heels, you can sit back and maybe open up the heels wide enough that you can comfortably sit between. But if you find this is painful for your knees, your ankles, or any other joint in your body, grab a block, a pillow, or something to put under your hips so that it brings you up and it takes pressure off those joints right away. And then you might sit upright or even bring your weight more forward. Or you can lean back one hand at a time. Start to tilt your pelvis back so your thighs and the front of your hip creases begin to lengthen. If you're quite comfortable sitting in between the heels, you can lean further back. You could go back onto your elbows or shoulder blades, but just make sure you stop in a place that allows you to feel pretty comfortable and relaxed and that you're not getting any pain or strain. Come up slowly, taking yourself forward to lift off of your heels or props. Swing your feet around so you come to seated. And just lay all the way out onto your back and let your legs stretch out for a few breaths. From here, bend into your legs, placing your feet on the mat into a bridge position. So there's a few inches of space between your hips and your heels, and you've also got your feet about hip distance apart. With your hands on the mat beside your hips, press into the floor with your heels, activate and squeeze your glutes, lift your hips up, and really elongate the front side of the hip and the thighs. Press down firmly. Tone in your lower ribs so you're adding a bit of core strength. And you can either press your hands into the floor or walk your arms underneath you and interlace your fingers together. And then for a bridge pose, lower your hips down and just stretch out comfortably for a few breaths. Let's set it up again, bending your legs, place your feet onto the floor. Press your hands down into the mat, and as you engage your glutes, lift your hips up. Concentrate on your breath this round. And then lower your hips down, stretch out into a comfy position, and take a little rest. This time as you bend up your legs, bring your feet onto the mat, walk your feet out a little bit wider, and let your knees fall into the center. You can also bring your arms up overhead into a cactus position. And just rotate your knees from right to left a few times. And that rotation can feel quite nice after your back bends and just allows you to get some movement into your hips and lower back muscles. Take it back to center, walking your feet back in, and slowly bring your knees into your chest, hugging your knees or holding onto your knees. It might feel nice here just to roll from side to side a few times. And then just gradually bring yourself all the way up to a seated position. As you come up to seated, open your knees out to the sides, bringing your feet together, keeping some space between your heels and your body. Fold forward with your upper body, placing your hands out in front of you or reaching your arms forward, and let your neck and your shoulders relax. Slowly bring your spine upright. Straighten your right leg and bring your left foot up against your right inner thigh. And facing toward your extended leg, reach your arms up and gently fold forward. I like to bend my knee a little bit. You can hold your foot, ankle, or shin, or whatever is most comfortable. And again, just let your neck and shoulders be relaxed as you lengthen your torso forward. As you bring your spine back upright, switch up your legs, straightening your left leg, bend your right leg. Reach up and fold over your left leg. Bringing your spine up, stretch both legs out in front of you. Knees can be slightly bent. Reach up and just fold over both legs. Bring your spine all the way upright. You're going to come back to lie on your back. Bring your knees into your chest as you roll back and either hug your knees or maybe this time grab hold of your feet for happy baby pose. You can add some gentle movement or be more still. Taking your knees back to your chest, gently twist your knees over to the left-hand side. Let your right arm open to the right. Slowly take your twist back to center. Bring your knees over to the right-hand side and open your left arm to the left. Take your twist back to center. Release your feet down and stretch all the way out into Shavasana, taking a comfortable rest. begin to bring some movement back. And eventually take a nice big stretch overhead, reaching out through your arms. Bend into both knees, bringing your feet onto the mat, and roll yourself over onto one side from there. Bring yourself to a seated position when you're ready. Thank you so much for practicing with me today. I look forward to seeing you tomorrow. Namaste.